The last memory I have of Raelan was 2 days before. It was a Sunday. We sat there and we talked and had a really good conversation. And she said, "Mom," she was like, "you didn't tell me goodbye." And she gave me a hug. That is my last memory of her.
This is Raelan Lawhon, one of the many young lives taken by the deadly drug fentanyl. Forever 21, like her grave says.
When she was younger, she loved soccer, dance, and then when she got in high school, she got involved with the choir, theater, and those were her people. She loved that.
And she also loved to fish. She liked to be outdoors too.
She liked to cook.
Oh yeah, she was a fantastic cook. She loved to cook.
Ask any parent and they'll tell you. Blink and suddenly your little babies, well, aren't so little anymore. In December 2021, Raelan had just moved back to the coast after getting out-of-state treatment for depression and an eating disorder.
She was just trying to kind of like find herself again, and so she got her own apartment.
She had been recently talking to a guy. Her friend told me that she said, "You need to get your sister." She was looking at Roxy's.
Roxy's, or Oxycodone, a strong painkiller. But real Oxycodone is rare to find on the street. Instead, fake pills dominate the market, mostly laced with fentanyl. It's something that Raelan probably never thought about on that rainy day in January.
She had an appointment first thing that morning, and then she was scheduled to go to work.
Raelan didn't make it to the appointment. Nothing alarming to her parents, she probably just slept in. But then she wasn't answering her phone.
Usually in the mornings, she would text me or I would text her, and she didn't respond. So I waited a while, I said, well, and I tried calling and she never answered her phone. I called Sabrina, I said, something's up.
Sabrina left to go check on her daughter.
We saw like her lights on in her apartment, and we knocked and knocked and knocked, and we, banged on her window.
What's going through your mind at that point? I mean,
I'm still thinking she's asleep. Maybe that's just like, it was my way of protecting myself from anything.
When management opened Raelan's apartment, Sabrina barely made it through the door. She could see Raelan in bed, and in that moment, she knew.
Never in a million years would I have, really thought, that was going to be reality.
I was in tears. I'm screaming, I'm like, praying and basically asking God, please don't let my daughter be dead. I just went in and I looked at her. It was like she was asleep.
She had passed away. She was gone. The fire department came out and everything else was a blur.
I ran in there and saw my mom sitting on the couch. I saw my sister's friend sitting there and I was like, what in the world?
Half a pill was left on Raelan's nightstand next to a glass of water. It didn't take an autopsy for Harrison County Coroner Brian Switzer to figure out what happened. It was a death he'd seen countless times before.
He said it looks like she had one pill there, and he said, I believe she thought she was taking Oxycodone. He said, but I'm looking at it, he said, that's not an Oxycodone.
She didn't realize it was pressed pills, ended up having a lot of fentanyl in it. She only took half of it.
News travels fast in South Mississippi. Soon, those who knew and loved Raelan Lawhon learned of her tragic overdose.
Raelan was so loved. We were all devastated, just shocked. Like everybody was shocked. Never saw that coming. She didn't have anything else in her system except for the 2 milligram of fentanyl. And she didn't know. She had no idea. She would have never taken something that she knew was going to end her life.
How does this young woman with no drug history end up dying from fentanyl? Her mom has a pretty good idea.
She had been with a guy that was doing that, and I think, just trusting him. I did go to the DEA. I went to Gulfport Police, and I gave them as much information as I could because I didn't want this to happen to anybody else.
Was there some anger there?
Oh yeah, very angry, yeah.
When their emotions settled, Patrick and Sabrina needed to take action.
After Raelan passed, it seemed like we were hearing of fentanyl-related deaths one after another after another. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, we've got to do something.
They put up a billboard on Highway 49, a picture of their beautiful daughter, and a grim message, one that these grieving parents hoped might save a life. Meanwhile, her brother Casey turned his talent into a mission of his own.
I've had my wrap shop for a while. We did something special for my sister. My contribution, I wanted to wrap her casket and make it very pretty.
In the 3.5 years since Raelan's death, Casey now wraps caskets for others who passed away tragically. It's his way of helping grieving families and honoring his sister.
I look at time as like a double-edged sword, because time can heal very traumatic events in your life. It's also like a very painful thing, because there's things that you want to grasp onto forever, but time creates this huge distance in between it. You know, I'll end up going home and I look at a picture and I'm like, man, I had a sister.
Next, the front lines, on patrol with Harrison County Sheriff K-9 Unit.
Put your hands right here and then spread your feet for me.
Then, an addict's redemption.
I knew if I did not get clean that it was not going to end well.
Meaning?
It's like I was going to kill myself.